Good afternoon again, and last but not least, welcome to this, the final session on the headline stage. Get ready to unlock your inner potential. This session, Ignite Your Inner Entrepreneur, fueling your journey from idea to entrepreneur, has been sponsored by Alacrity. Alacrity is a charitable foundation that provides a unique range of entrepreneurial and business support services and programs. In this session, discover the exciting world of startups and innovation as the panel reveals the secrets to turning your passions into reality. Discover how university spin-off opportunities can be the springboard to launching your very own venture straight from campus. And learn more about the tools, insights, and support networks you need to ignite your entrepreneurial journey. Please welcome Hannah Williams to the stage, CEO of Alacrity. Hannah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. So I've got three amazing entrepreneurs I'd love to introduce you to today. So if you could join me and welcome them, David, Ellie, and Jakub. Take the tradesman entrance over there. So let's get started. I'll start with you, Jakub. Let's talk around your business, first of all.
Yeah, so I work at a company called Talkative, contrary to what's written up there. And we do empowering our customers' digital channels and provide best customer service to their customers. So what that means is we provide things like web chat, along with AI and chatbots, along with video through the website and things like co-browsing and screen share, etc.
Perfect. Ellie?
Thank you. So I work at Haelu, I'm founder and COO. We co-create software for health and social care. So we're about to launch an integrated care platform this year that basically will empower social care staff to be able to raise and record signs and symptoms related to health directly with a relevant health professional. So yeah, that's what we do.
Perfect. And David?
So yeah, I'm co-founder of Little Auto, a platform that gives people an incentive to get rid of litter, encourage recycling and reduce contamination. I'm also working on a few other solutions to increase positive impact in businesses around the world.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So I'll start with you, David. How did you come up with your idea and firstly, and then how did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
So we came up with the idea for Little Auto during COVID because there was such an increase in the amount of litter from face masks and so on, and we decided to encourage and incentivize people to get rid of that properly, working with partners and working with other people. As far as my journey is concerned, I actually started my first business by accident when I was 11, when I was doing some web design work and those kind of things. And I've built and launched a few other startups since then.
And how did you get into that? What was your idea for starting a business at the age of 11? That's so young.
So I've always had an interest in technology from an even younger age. You know, I taught myself to code when I was 8. But at the time, my landlord at the time ran a minibus company, and he asked me to build this website for him. So I did. And at the end of that, he said, "How much do you want to get paid?" And I was like, "Paid? I didn't know that you could get paid for this." So I said 100 quid, which to an 11-year-old is millions. But for a website, it was actually a good deal. So from there, then he introduced me to a few of his friends who also ran businesses. So I was this 11, 12, 13-year-old toddling into like gyms, car garages, and all sorts, building the websites for them. So yeah, that's where all that started.
So entrepreneurship's been in your blood then, it sounds like,
exactly,
from the beginning.
Exactly,
from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What a story. So Ellie, where did the idea come from for your business?
So we actually were in Alacrity. So we were matched up with a health board in West Wales and given the opportunity to do a challenge scoping exercise with them to look at their priorities and what they needed, an opportunity that we wouldn't have had if it wasn't for Alacrity. So thank you very much for that. But prior to that, our company, Haelu, had been working in social care. And so we also heard some challenges from their side, and we were trying to figure out what we could do to sort of support both as they are, and they should be more integrated than they are. And so yeah, we had a little bit of an idea that was quite out there. It takes a different approach, and it has a lot of barriers because of the way that it works, connecting health and social care. You can imagine with governance challenges and things like that, but we've managed to find a really innovative health board and an idea that utilises what they currently, the current employees and the current workforce, and just uses tech to kind of just bring them together. So yeah, it was kind of just short answers through Alacrity. Alacrity did it for us.
Done. And then Jakub, how did you bring in the tech side of your business? Well, with the business side, because they're two fundamentally different parts of running a company, I guess. So how did you find that, and how did you integrate the two?
So I think it's just having a good team around me. And from the get-go, at Alacrity Foundation, we were matched with tech side and then sales, sort of marketing side, people that were just really good at either side, and coming together as a team and building out the rest of the team from that is how we manage it. I think having a technology that we could, or new technology in the market to exploit, and having good people that have knowledge in that space.
And have you found that with the new technology? Have you found that really a challenge or as an opportunity?
It's generally an opportunity. So if it's a new tech, there's generally not many players that are deep in the market. So it's much easier to come up and with things that are innovative and with new tools that we can sell to our clients.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. And then, Elle, so go back to the challenges. Have you found any, particularly the women, being a woman in a tech industry, which is previously known as a male-dominated space, how do you find that?
It's been good, actually.
Take the wins.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it's because of the existing network that is in Wales, predominantly as well, where everybody is really supportive. I haven't really found any big barriers there. We've got a great team. My co-founder, Paddy, is, couldn't wish for a better co-founder who's really supportive. And yeah, it gives me opportunities whenever I can. So I would say that, and especially working in health and social care now too, where we get to collaborate with other women every day, as there's a lot of women working in health and social care. So yeah, I haven't really found it that, yeah, maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I haven't found it too challenging being a woman in this industry now, which is good. Yeah,
that's good to
maybe
know.
Things are changing.
Progression moving forward, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then David, talking about your business and how does your team look? Because I'm actually unfamiliar with so much about.
So there's actually probably around 15, 16 of us now on the team around the UK and around the world. Actually, we've got a couple of people. So it was me and my co-founder who started the business, and we built the team from there really. So we launched around 2 years ago. We did a pilot in Denmark, and then we moved back into the UK. Then partnering with McDonald's as our main partner at the time to encourage people to get rid of litter, like I said. So.
Oh, that's good. And how have you found that going from 2 people up to 50, maybe like cultural changes, big challenges? What have you found?
Yeah, there's been good and bad things as we did it. So as we expanded the team, obviously we were able to do a lot more and get into a lot more places to develop those partnerships, to develop partnerships with lots of different types of organisations around the world. So yes, it has been a really useful thing, but building the team has been a big challenge, especially towards the end of COVID. Attracting tech talent in particular was a major issue because a lot of people were doing different things and flitting between companies, and it was really hard to attract and retain that talent.
Yeah, I can imagine so. And then Jakub, let's go back to that, the tech talent and retaining talent. Have you found any challenges or benefits, even so, in being in Wales and having a startup in Wales?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a number of relationships with the university in the area, where we just try and get grads straight from the course. So work with them throughout their course and provide projects for them to do. And we've been trying to do over the summer internships with them, which is great. Essentially a 2-month-long interview process where you get to really find out how good this person is and whether they fit in with the culture in the company. Other than that, we've got Bristol in the area, which is full of tech as well. We've got Cardiff, which is full of tech, and we've got Newport and Alacrity, which has also been great.
Yeah, and the same question to you, Ellie. How have you found that with being a Welsh business? Any major challenges, or have you seen just the opportunities that have been in front of you?
I mean, we had to hire our CTO from Scotland, so that's something.
Yeah,
Yeah, we found great local talent as well, but yeah, I would say it is challenging to find the right fit. We've got a strong culture of kind of collaboration, and we've got a really good kind of the way that we want to work. We had a very specific sort of person that we wanted to get in, as well as the skills, and kind of being a startup as well. You have to get people that understand that. Maybe they don't understand everything about being in a startup, but they're willing to be kind of, I don't know, the iterative way of working, the collaboration, the kind of, you don't really exactly know what's going to come along the roadmap next all the time. We needed to get people to be happy with that. And so it has been challenging kind of finding the right people, but we've been very fortunate, to be fair, with our team so far. So hoping that'll continue, and hoping to be able to hire more in Wales as well. Because I mean, I suppose once you are working, while hybrid working is great, if you are not, it's more challenging to get together. And as a company that innovates, coming together is really important in person as well.
Yeah, that is, especially after COVID, going back into the office space and getting everyone together, that teamwork ethos and that culture. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah. So, David, you're a serial entrepreneur, loads of startups. So let's go back to your journey of the startup phase. How did you find that at the beginning? What were your major pitfalls that you thought, oh, well, that won't do that again, or that was good, okay, we'll try that on the next one?
So I think the getting the product out into the market is the important bit. Not spending too much time on building the perfect product, because you don't actually know what the perfect product is until you've got people using it. So that that's the side of things. As I've built and launched a few different things over the last few years, that's the important thing I've sort of said to myself as we do more, is that just get something out into the market and see how people engage with that, and don't wait until you've got the perfect gold-plated solution to what you think is the problem, because that problem will change as you realize how your product fits into the market. I think.
Yeah, okay. And then based on that, what would you give tips for people who want to start up? They're worried, concerned, the usual things, cash, time. What would your advice be?
Just as long as you've got the right team and the right people behind you to support you there, I think that's so important. I built my first thing as my first app solution then at the age of 15, 16, and I was going through a few different accelerator programs. And actually, the best thing about those types of programs is the community and the ecosystem that you thrust yourself into, and getting that support from places you wouldn't necessarily expect it as well. Like one of the best sort of types of support I had wasn't from a tech company; it was from a juice company and a toothbrush company. So, the support that you find is sort of where you least expect it as well. So don't sort of put all the eggs into one basket and only focus on your industry. There's lots of people out there that will be able to help and support you on the way there. I think
Yeah, amazing advice. Actually, I agree. I find that really helpful as well. That collaborative working for sure. So, Jakub, let's talk about Talkative. So. What have you found that's for the product that was so unique that you saw the niche in the market ready to infiltrate that space?
So I'm the techie guy at Talkative, so I'm going to bore you with all the tech now. Thanks for that. Essentially, we were working with, or we got introduced to a brand new technology, which at the time, which was now 8 years ago, was only just getting adopted, which was WebRTC, which essentially allows your browser to become like a Skype, essentially. You're allowed to make, or it enables you to make voice and video calls through the browser without having to launch a separate application. I'm sure you've all got used to it by now, because you can do things like Teams and Zoom all through the browser without having to download that bespoke app for each individual provider. So it's just bringing that technology to the customer service side of things, where you can go on a website, for example, Lululemon, who work with us to demo their products on the internet, where you go to the website, organize a fitting, and someone will pop up with a camera on their side, camera on your side, and you can try and see various items in a kind of in situ, in a live sort of demo scenario. So that's the new tech. That's what enables us to do what we want to do. And on top of that, we've kind of added extra things that you'd expect from a contact center, like chat, phoning into the contact center, email, just basic messaging. So that's where we started, and that's how we've kind of developed into where we are today.
Okay, and then, so before that even comes back, how did the market research start? How did you really look at that? Did you go to people? Did you go to companies? How did that look for you?
So we brought a technology, an SDK, so to speak, which kind of was a wrapper around that WebRTC technology, so it made it a little bit simpler to integrate with. And that's what we were given while Alacrity. Normally, you'd be given a project or a problem from a company. We would go given this technology and see what we could do with it. There's a number of directions that we tried to go down. We tried kind of the Zoom style thing where we're going to do meetings over in a browser without the downloads. But then we decided, actually, that's pretty crowded space. We should probably go for something that's more unique. We saw that high value sales, things like I said, Lululemon, pretty expensive yoga pants, not for me. And things like cruises. One of those sales is significant enough that it justifies the cost of purchasing our software.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, for sure. And how did you find that with customers, the very first start of that relationship?
In terms of finding our clients as opposed to their customers?
Yeah, well, they're finding your guys. Who's going to adopt the technology, especially if it's so new?
So I think COVID has actually helped us in that space, where loads of people got way more used to talking over things like Zoom and Teams and having their camera switched on, right? Most people in Zooms would have the cameras turned off pre-COVID. Customers be pretty risk-averse to that sort of thing. Whereas as a result of COVID, everyone's used to talking on the internet, talking via video. So that's helped a lot. And there was a need for customers, for our clients to have their stores closed, so they had staff that they could use for video. So I'm sure you've seen many retail stores that have launched this sort of capability. We can call in and video call them. So as a result, that market's kind of grown, and customers come inbound to us when we also have resellers that sell a product.
Okay, a perfect position to be in then. That's great. That's growing. Yeah. So far, so good. And then, Ellie, what would you say were your biggest challenges you faced when you started Haelu?
Ooh. When we started Haelu, so we launched during COVID, so COVID's part of the story too, like every story these days. But we were in Alacrity during COVID, so it hit in about the March, I think, and we were actually kind of on track to go and work and build a solution for events, which would have been all right, but then COVID hit and we had to pivot to a whole different industry, so not really pivot. And so we ended up actually coming out of Alacrity with a partnership with a Canadian company that sell automated care messaging. It's a messaging solution into care homes. So that will give us an opportunity to then go out and speak to people in social care while selling this one platform to find out if what their needs were and their challenges, which helped us then build the product that we've built now. But the challenge there was, it was only about a year, I think, but it felt like 5, was trying to contact social care staff during and find collaborators during COVID. Everybody was really busy. We did manage to have a few conversations with people, and those few conversations were invaluable to us, but you couldn't form a collaboration partnership during COVID. It actually turned out to our benefit because we learned so much and spoke to such a variety of people that when we then spoke to the health board, it all kind of worked out that we had that insight to put into this new idea that married up with them. But yeah, it was availability of finding the right project partner and the right product for us as a team that was a good market fit for an industry that's not typically very tech savvy.
Yeah.
And actually, from our perspective, we had exactly the same thing. So, we were building a launch during COVID, and we partner with a lot of corporates, both big and small, and finding those partnerships was really difficult through COVID, and finding the right people to talk to within those companies has been a challenge, and it's still a challenge as time goes on. So, but yeah.
How do you break down that barrier? What's the top tip for that?
To be honest, it's just to keep asking and keep bombarding. One of our main corporate partners, we spoke to I think 5 or 6 different people in that company before we got anywhere, and then we actually didn't get anywhere through those conversations. But one of the people we spoke to mentioned us in a weekly update email, and suddenly the head of partnerships contacted us overnight, and we signed the deal in 2 weeks. And we were like, where did that come from? So it is finding the right people within those companies and just keep trying until you do, because
Keep persisting then.
Yeah.
That's the key. Yeah.
Keep nagging, and before this was during COVID, so we couldn't, but bombard the doors down until you get there.
That is one of the things of being an entrepreneur, I guess, and you're all sat in that space of it's the persistency. How do you find that with trying to keep your energy up and trying to keep everything going on the days where you just want to sit back and go, sod this, I'm out. This is exhausting. What keeps you going? Elle?
I think you don't get a choice.
You're in, that's it.
That's
Feels
it,
like.
yeah. I think it's really important that you're passionate about what you do, and that you can see an end in sight, and even if you're not too sure what it is. And that I think you mentioned it earlier, that you have the people around you that can keep you going. So, if I'm having a bad day or a slow day and I'm working at, I don't know, less than 100% that day, and I need to be able to hand something off to somebody else, that I can, because you've got that team around you that kind of can support you through that and even just motivate you. I mean, stopping and saying to somebody, I just need to have a chat about something to remotivate myself, was something that I learned to do sort of last year. And you feel a bit bad because you feel guilty because you're kind of going into I don't feel very productive today and it's not really clicking. And you don't want to really put that burden on somebody else. But if you've got a supportive team, they're there to bring you back up and help you and just be that sort of sounding board. And I think that really helps.
Yeah, okay, same. And then Jakub, same question to you, really.
So for me, it's customers.
Okay, really?
And, well, not the ones that write support tickets. Less of those ones. It's more doing customer visits and just seeing, it's really hard to get into the weeds of whatever you're doing. But seeing the product actually getting used and, seeing customers getting served and it all working nicely as you expect it, that's pretty awesome to see. And getting some of the reviews and references and case studies that we get back from customers, that's awesome to see. Like when someone writes you a really nice email saying, good job, guys, that's what really charges you up.
Yeah. So then, what would be your top tips for budding entrepreneurs, David?
I think the tip would be just to get out there and do it, and don't sort of think about how you're going to do it, and just give it a go and see how it ends up. Like I said earlier, there'll be lots of different barriers in place, and things will change as you go and do it. But the important part is just to go out and give it a go, basically.
Just start.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Just carry on. Ellie, same to you. What are your top tips?
I think my main one would be similar, but more just go out and see who's out there to support you. So, I mean, my journey started when I stumbled across Alacrity, and I wasn't going to Alacrity, I was still in uni, but suddenly I had meetings with people about how to practice the pitch. I was doing it at another event, and I started going to Google meetups, and because I knew nothing about tech, and just speaking to people, and they were really willing to share their advice with me and kind of just have a little conflab here and there. And there's a lot of support out there these days to help people. So I think that motivates you and, teaches you what you don't know, which is nice.
And that ability to just throw a piece of paper at the back of someone's head or ask them a question to, what are your thoughts on this? I'm glad to have a good network around that in lots of different sectors. And that's really valuable where you least expect it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go way back now, not to school age. Well, maybe to school age, actually. Jakub, who was the biggest influence of your life? I'm always curious to know where people's journeys have come from and how they've got to the position they're in.
I mean, this is going to be cringe, but Sir Terry Matthews came to visit us at Swansea University during Entrepreneurship Week to give talk about his career, his trajectory, what he's done. And then at the very end, he pitched Alacrity Foundation. And I think that was about the point where I'd already applied to go work at an aerospace engineering firm, GKN in Bristol. So my career was pretty set in that direction. But I always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I kind of dabbled here and there myself. But so I thought, let's give Alacrity a go. So I think that had quite a big impact on my life in the direction and, where I've ended up as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say same. I think I actually spoke to him a few weeks ago, and the guy can tell a story. He can tell it great.
Repeat.
Repeat, yeah. Ellie, how about you? Well, who's your biggest influence?
That is really, really difficult. I have no idea. It's really bad, isn't it? My default for this always goes back to my parents. I know that's. I mean, they weren't entrepreneurs. They have really good work ethic, and they just do everything they could. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've ended up like really become very happy to be supporting health and social care, because my mum was a nurse, and my dad just doesn't stop. So yeah, a bit closer to home, my answer.
Yeah.
And you know, mine is similar, because I've got a few people in my family who've started businesses over the years, not necessarily in the tech sector, but one thing that always gets wheeled out at Christmas is that when I was about 5 or 6, I said to my uncle that when I'm older, I want to take Dell computers and turn it into David computers and start, you know. So it's always been something like that stuck in my mind, and maybe inspired by lots of people in the family that, you know, have built businesses of different shapes and sizes. So yeah, I think that's.
It sounds like it's come from a very early age. You wanted to start something for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, lastly, before we open the floor to questions, any final tips of anything you just would one-liner of how you can help everyone in the room just enhance their career, or give a sound bit of advice, or it's always hard. This is a proper on the spot problem. This is of what you can say just to go. Actually, it's a bit like David's. Just go and do it. I think I've done yours for you, actually.
Yeah, but,
unless you've got another one.
Yeah, but also, and this is something I've learned, especially with Little Otto, is that when you're trying to build a solution to a problem, is consider how much impact that can have beyond just the business world and the finance side of things. Is, you know, I think all 3 businesses on the panel and Alacrity as well have the ability to create a positive impact in the world beyond just creating and things like that. You know. And it often happens where you least expect it. So yeah, I think create as much impact as possible while you're launching the business as well. I think.
So not just about the revenue, making the cash. It's more about giving back, paying forward.
You know, like exactly, and you know, that impact is so important to you know, a lot of people and a lot of businesses, a lot of people around the world, and that's such an important thing to create.
I'd say, yeah, really important.
That's really good. That's a good one. I think mine would probably be around work-life balance. Like, you are nothing if you can't, you know, if you can't continue, you're going to get to the point where you break. And I think you need to make sure that you do something for yourself every single day that isn't work, even if you are passionate and you are driven and you can see the bigger picture. I mean, I didn't do that, and I'm trying to fix it. And it's hard once you're already in a routine where you do just work from dawn till dusk. Trying to imagine being able to get the same amount of work done in less time is hard. So I would just say, yeah, and it gives yourself time to reflect. So give yourself time to reflect.
That's really, yeah. Do you know what? Same. Someone said that to me a year or 2 ago, and I was like, shit, don't do that enough. And actually, you can become really creative, and then you think about stuff, and actually, it creates a better work, a positive working environment, I think, for yourself and for the people around you. So,
absolutely.
Jakub, yeah.
I'd say just building the right team around you. If you've got the right team and the right kind of people around you, I think everything's so much easier.
I almost said that one, so you're lucky.
And what about if you haven't got, if you've got one of those people that don't quite align with your culture and your values, and they're just like that? What do you do? How do you get over that barrier? That's
Pass.
yeah.
Once I've worked it out.
Okay, so we've got any questions? I'll open it to the floor. I mean, I could talk all day, so yeah. Oh, I think they run into you now.
Thank you so much to the panel for the interesting conversation and the insights. My question is to do more with the nature of startups being very iterative. And how do you know when something is not working in your startup? How do you know when to change things, or when to change the product, or even when to stop that startup and do something else?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a really good question.
Well, Ellie, you had that earlier, so if you want to touch on that first. Ooh. A little bit of well, not a pivot, a full-on change direction.
Well, I don't know if anyone's heard of this. I think it's called Google X. We call it Google X in our company, but I don't know if that's what it's called. But apparently Google do this thing where they just come into a room and instead of getting an idea and running with it or trying to see all the benefits, they come together and they try and break it. And it's like they celebrate breaking an idea because then they're not wasting time. So we kind of try and do that ourselves. So think about all the reasons why it won't work as well as when you're thinking about all the reasons why it would work. And then just draw on the people. Again, it's all about network and people. I mean, when we were going through that initial period of speaking to social care, we thought about lots of different products and lots of different problems, and there were many different reasons why they stopped. But I think you've got to listen to those reasons. That's the key thing. Don't be blinded by, oh, well, I think this is a really good idea. You know, be happy if you break it because you're not wasting time.
And also, you know, if like you're at a point that you feel that you need to kill an idea and work on something else, that's definitely, you know, something to be proud of, because being able to recognize that is really important. Like there's a venture studio, I think somewhere in the US, that on their website, that before they even mention who their portfolio are and the companies on that studio, the biggest number on the website is actually the amount of ideas they've killed within that ecosystem, because again, they're not afraid to try new things and try things differently.
Hope that answered your question. Yeah, perfect. Anyone else? No, we good? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kate from Technology Connected. I've been doing content for them. And I hope you don't mind me observing, you're all very youthful people. And I just wondered, for older people who are interested in entrepreneurship, what's the ecosystem like for older people in Wales?
Who wants to take this one?
I mean, I'm 23, so that might not be the question for me. I don't think we're all...
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
32.
32, 33, I beat you. I imagine it's pretty similar, to be honest. I mean, it's a very welcoming environment. I was one of the oldest of the Alacrity cohort when we went in, and I didn't feel like I was. Yeah, I think I almost wonder that you might be a good one to answer this one.
Oh, I'm old.
Saying that you're old.
I'm 57. I probably look older with so many kids, but I'm only new to tech, brand new to tech. So I worked for a brewery before, so that was my startup. Drinking lots of beer, probably why my brain cells are like functioning on times. So I've actually found it better. I found networks more welcoming and encompassing of ideas. I've actually enjoyed I've only been with Alacrity for 4 months, but I've absolutely loved every second, because it's a different space, but it's also an extremely inclusive space, I found. Very different to beer, extremely different to beer, a different startup sector, but all businesses work the same. So I think it's actually a benefit being older, a lot older than 23.
I think maybe to add to that as well, it's the whole thing about destroying on everybody's experience. If you've lived longer, you've got more to share. So with it being such a collaborative kind of knowledge sharing space, then I can't see why anybody would. You can bring more to it, basically.
I think at least what I found is going in straight from uni into entrepreneurship and Alacrity, we don't have the experience, right? For us to find a product or a niche, it generally helps if you have experience in a particular market, or you've worked somewhere and you see a potential improvement. For us, it's very hard, right? So that's where the ideas to some extent have to come from outside. So I think that experience would go a long way for sure. We're having worked for somewhere for 5-10 years.
We should ask Terry, he's 80, and he's still working 5 days a week. So, yeah. Okay, any other questions?
I think it's the end.
No, we're good? We're done now? Okay, thank you, we're good. Perfect, thanks. I enjoyed that, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Diolch, a huge thank you to Hannah and her panellists for that session, and to Alacrity for sponsoring and hosting it, bringing this Talent for Tech to a close. In fact, the entire event, Wales Tech Week, will be closing at 4 p.m. today, so the hall will be closing then as well. We hope you've learned something today, whether it's about yourself, whether it's about technology, or whether it's about the opportunities that could be there for you within technology. Talent for Tech wouldn't have been possible without the incredible support of our event partners, exhibitors, and speakers, and ultimately without all of you for turning up and supporting it and opening your minds to the opportunities in tech. Now, if you were given a survey form about today, please would you, if you have a few moments spare, fill it in and drop it into the branded box on your way out. But for now, for all of us here at Talent for Tech and Wales Tech Week, diolch and nostar.